clandestine period. That was put by UNESCO for the organizing of the place, like one of the posts in the West Coast Africa here, where something like this was happened before. So let's go in for the rest.
Okay.
You can even take this out. Yes. So, I am Gaskin Mensah, the official guide of Togo Slave House.
Okay.
So, to make sure that we don't have to give you lesson about slavery in Africa here, because you know something before coming to this house, but especially what happened here before was done in a special period, and we call this period a clandestine period, which supposed to make end to abolish definitively this trade. But you know, in the group of these traders, there are some of them who didn't want to stop it, and they came here. They feel to continue again into secret. So when they arrive on this place, they have set this building in the middle of a great forest. And from this building to the seashore, that moment was long, about 1.5 kilometers.
Okay.
So that moment, there was a British control ship that was fighting against the trade. Because of the distance, because of the forest surrounded here, the ship could not be able to mention so far what happened here really. Then everything started from 1830 here, finished in 1852. Because of 1st January 1852, on demand of the British government, they have signed a treaty of abolition. And this treaty was held in Lagos, Nigeria. Therefore, from 24 to 27 January 1852, they have sent what we call royal staff, on which they put a message of abolition, sent it to all of the kings in the coastal region. At that moment, they have sent 3 of these abolition staff to Togo here. One was left to the Glidi Kingdom, the second one to the town called Gumukope, and the third one to the city called Porto Seguro, known as Agbodrafo today. It means this area.
Okay.
So
What
why
was the name again?
Porto Seguro?
Porto Seguro.
Yeah.
Okay.
So why Porto Seguro name? Because the Portuguese traders, when they were here for their trading times, they have attributed this name to the land, saying that they were looking themselves at home. That's why they have attributed this name, which means safe port or port of security. So for the 200 years anniversary of the abolition of slave trade, the former director of UNESCO was in this house. He was here on 40th February 2007. That's why he put this panel over there. Now, when we come back to the house, as you can see, the architecture of the house, this architecture is called the style Afro-Brazilian. So we have the upstairs for the slave traders, and we have the downstairs for the slaves. And the whole building composed with 6 bedrooms. We have the living room. We have the corridor on 3 sides, the eastern part, western part, and southern part, about 1.5 meters in large. And the whole down of the house made like cave, almost 1.5 meters in height. That was like the measurement of the shape of the ship. And these traders were saying that the slaves were learning from the cave how they have to be in the ship during the journey. But at that moment, these traders were free. Upstairs in their accommodations, they have everything on their side, even their bed well dressed. But unfortunately, in the cave, the slave used to sleep on floor. No mat, no cloth, no mattress, but every day in chain like prisoners. Even sometime in the night, they pick some of the women slaves from the cave, raping them here and there in their accommodations too. So as they can eat and drink around the big table in the living room, the slave used to be under their feet in the cave, thinking about how tomorrow can be for them. But this is the question: where did they going to capture the slave from that moment? They used to go and capture them from extreme north of Togo, like from Tambatown, Sokode, Atakpame, Noche, and Tado. They captured the rest in the valley of Mono, not far from Aneho side. And then they gathered all of the slaves in market we call Blokotisime. This Blokotisime market was in the poor village in your side. So after making the exchange attraction, they bring all of the slaves here. First, they're going through the entrance we have under the building. And they have to go by crawling before attending the cave. So they used to stay in the cave for days and weeks before the ship arrived. So as they were here, they could not be able to stand up because of the height of this cave.
Right, it's 150.
It's 1.5 meter at the height. So after spending days and weeks there, and when the ship was there, they took them award to go and take their ultimate bath, qualified as a purification bath. And this bath was taken around the well known as Gatovdo, or Chain the People Well. Over there, they forced the slaves to walk 7 times around this well. That was a ritual using against them so that they could not be able to remember the way back home, so that they could not be able to, they have to forget forever Africa on their back too. Then after, they put them to the small embarkation. They picked them from the embarkation to the ship in the Great Sea, and from the ship now to the last destination. So this is the way everything was in the house here. So now we have to go forward for the rest, and we say thank you for your comprehension, and you are welcome. Your question?
So you said they make them walk 7 times around the well.
Yeah.
Is that something that was suggested by people from here or by the slave masters?
You know that it's something that's suggested by people from here, by the tribal chief, for certain reason. I can say that for even 2 fundamental reasons. The first reason means they don't have to come back home, because at the way that they bring them, they catch them, at the way that they put them into chain, at the way they train them from there to here, if they reach back home now, you can understand that can come a tribal war. And the first reason. The second reason means the way that the slave traders bring them, supply them with hot drinks and so, and the tobacco and maybe a gunpowder and so. After using some part of this, when the slave come back home, how can they replace this for, return this for the slave trader if they reclaim it? So that's why they have to make sure that they will never come back. Never come back again. Yeah. Even in economy, spiritually, in the Occidental people, they have also something in this way, spiritually, like a number of 7, 3, 9, 11, and something like this. So that we can say that was done in the complicity with the African tribal chief and the Occidental people, those who were here for the trading period. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Did you think that back then, some of our people here, do you think they were given away freely, the people, or some of them were forced to?
Most of them were forced. You know, I was talking about catching people. Catching people means you are free somewhere, that they come and jump on you, take you by force, put you in chain. You are catched. So sometimes they can even supply some tribal chief with gun, so that they can declare tribal war to another tribe. So the prisoners of the war can be captured and grabbed and be sold like a slave too. So it's something like this can happen. Yeah, something
That
like
I
this.
didn't know, because in the U.S., right? People, there is this like,
Yeah.
I don't want to call it war, but there is this uncomfortable thing between the Africans and the African Americans, right?
Yeah.
So for some African Americans, they look at it as, oh, you the Africans
You saw them.
that stayed,
Yeah.
you're the one who sold them. And my thing is that I've always tried to tell people that some of the kings were forced to do so, right? Like some of them weren't giving away freely their people. But the fact that you're mentioning that some tribes can cause war with
Yeah,
other
to other
tribes
ones,
and then
bring
capture
tempted
the
them to
prisoners
be released
and
to
sell
another,
them.
yeah.
That's a good thing.
That's why I take this advantage on this opportunity to make our fellows Afro-American to understand something. Like you in front of me, like me in front of you today, we were not born.
Yes.
We didn't do this right. So we don't have to be annoyed by this case. But what we have to do, we used to ask for pardon. We used to apologize on behalf of our African people, our African tribal chief, those who were in connection with the Occidental people during that slavery moment. And we ask those who are our fellows back, the Afro-American, to forgive, to come back to Africa, to come back to their roots, to come back here so that we can stay together, think together, and do something together for the global development of Africa from today and from tomorrow. And what we have also to do, we want to let them know that they are one of the arm from Africa that was cut from Africa since then. So they have to come back so that we join the second arm for the body of Africa so that the both of the hands can be together and work together for the strength of Africa in this way of the modern way of the development of the humanity. That's why we say once again, if you go back, tell your brothers and sisters directly, tell your fellows, tell everybody concerned by this history, that they have to forgive. They have to come back. They have to see us here so that we be together like you and me now. So that we can do something to provide the good future for Africa.
Yeah.
So once again, you are welcome.
Oh, thanks.
Let's continue, please.
That was a good question.
Yeah.
You can take this one and you take the sculpture.
Oh, sorry.
That's good.
Oh, this one's the one that was. We out here. It's like a documentary.
So we are now in the slave traders' living room. And as you can see here and there are accommodations upon to this living room. Even these furnitures are testimonial.
Are these the original?
Yeah, the original one.
These are original.
Yeah, original one.
And this place has not been remodeled.
No,
right?
okay, we does. So I will tell you go when you go through. Okay, this floor at now strung up like this, but only this place was removed because of the spoiled when they recently. And the roof also was changed 2 times already. So changed in 1958 and 2006. That's formerly made by this same wood covered with dark paper. And now the time these slave traders were eating and drinking here around the table, the slave used to be in this cave.
Oh, wow.
So formerly there was no light for the slaves. They used to live into total darkness over there.
Really?
But today we just put a light inside to show people, to let them know more about this cave. And even today it's possible for every visitor to come in this, to experience a moment to understand in which conditions this slave could be in the past. So if you get this desire, we can go.
You know that? Yeah, I want to
Just have a seat like this. Then you drop like me. Simple. You come in.
Yeah, okay.
So as you can see, we are in certain position here now in this cave, where our ancestors were in the past and the time they were doing slavery in Africa, in Togo here. I can mention you that is it possible to make a new human being in this condition, in this cave like this? So sorry for Africa, sorry for Africa, and sorry for Africa. We continue by saying we apologize on behalf of our African ancestors. Please, people over there, our brothers and sisters, grandchildren of the former slaves, our brothers and sisters, Afro-American, we just say, please forgive, please come back to Africa.
Yeah.
So you are welcome.
So that area over there was like similar?
Yeah, similar. It's one of the compartments of this middle cave.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So whenever they used to open up what the slave master, what did they do? Who comes
Or
up through
for
there?
the often when you open this cave, this cellar, they used this trap door. They used to give them food and water. They used to make a control here. They used sometimes to withdraw from here this trap door some of the women's slave.
Oh, I see.
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
in the nights especially.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And there were no lights.
No light before. Into darkness, the slaves used to live in this cave. Because of the modern way that we have to let people know more about this history, that we put this light so that people can understand, can see in clearly what this cave can be in the past. Yeah.
And how many slaves typically would be under here?
About 100 persons were there in this cave by arrival. Even we just qualify as, we call it a politic of a tin sardine. You know, how they can be in the box. Yeah.
So they were like packed in.
Yeah, they were very taken closer one to another. Even some heat, some diseases. So no, we have many things can happen to them here. That's why some of them lose their life inside. Yeah, that's why.
You can imagine.
Yeah.
Yikes. It's uncomfortable.
Uncomfortable. Very, very bad. Very, very uncomfortable.
So if you were a slave, you couldn't be like that. You had to kind of either sit like him or...
Yeah, we cannot. Why do I put this block here? Because most of the time when I bring people here to visit the cave, I just used to live, to stay in this same condition, same position. But I have done more than 1,000, 10,000 times already. That's why I put this block here when I come and sit down on it and to explain to people and they understand. That's why, yeah.
My legs are hurting and you feel like you can't even stand up.
So you have to go back again. You have to go back here. You put your your right foot here, and you can be simply back.
Oh, yay.
So let's continue here, please. Straight. Please go on the wood. Step on the wood, yeah. So, step on the wood, please. So, we are now in the slave trader's master's bedroom. Formerly, his bed was raised this way. So we have up to now his former armchair. not forgetting his former wardrobe. And this was the safe used in that moment. We can go on this wood and you see. Please don't on the floor, no on the floor,
No,
on the wood, yeah, it's better for you. So during the research, we have found many things else apart from these ones, like the master's beds were discovered. We have found also the bowl in which they cook palm oil to make the soap like savon de Marseille. We have found also handcuff and padlock. But what make us the anchor chain of the large ship and even their weapon and so. But what make amazing was the abolition staff that they sent here. They have sent here since 27th January 1852 to abolish everything. So all of them are in the area, spread in the area. So we know where they are now today, but we feel we are firing to bring them back here so that we can expose them into a museum project we have been working around now. And from there, we say this become our common memory duty. We shall do it for the future generation. We shall do it to maintain or to preserve this house for the future generation. We shall do it so that even the memory of our ancestors, wherever they are in the world, can be happy of what we have done for them. That's what we say in this case. Like me, like you don't have to pay for the visit, but you have to contribute for what we are doing here. That's why now when you go back to the living room, you'll be manifesting yourself by making or giving us your contribution to say we too today when we pass through this house, when you get the story, when you get the history of this house, we just make this contribution to let some part of the work be done in the good way for its conservation. So once again, we see in advance, we are grateful. Let's come back. You want that one here? Okay, we just talking about where they used to take the last bath. We talk about the well. Please can we see the picture of this one? But especially we don't take picture of this. But because of you, I will let him take this picture of this.
Okay. Is it still here?
Yeah, still in the area now, so far from 3 kilometers going to Lome direction. This was the well where they used to take the last bath, walking 7 times around it before. We call it Gato, Peters and Shani, slave.
Gato.
Yeah, the chain people. Right? So when we talk about the abolition staff, well, they have said to abolish everything here. This is abolition staff. Here we have the message of abolition pick on it because here is a meta. Yeah, that's why we say all of these things are in the area. Then we're supposed to bring them back here to let people know more about this history. So once again, we thank you for your understanding. So in this case, when we get our fellows coming back home, coming back to their homes, when we get our brothers and sisters Afro-American, we just do a simple ceremony for them. This is the moment for this ceremony. We can take the come here. From this way. So I will tell you something concerning this one. As this is our African land. This is our ancestors' land. Through this land, some of them have been deported to over there. But today you are here in the name of your family, in the name of your ancestral generation. You are here on behalf of your fellows And as from today, you have this part of the land with you that mention that you are back home, you are back to your roots. That mention, when you go back there, you show them the part of the land you left in Africa here for many centuries. So this part of the land needs you now to come back and do something better in Africa here. From today, you release your heart, you go without sorrow, you go with happiness from here, you go with peace, you go with everything that make you going ahead in your life. So you have it from you. When you go back home, you put in another good plastic bottle and you write today's date on it, and this will be the souvenir from your visit in this house, and the way that you can tell people that you were really in Africa, really in Togo, really in the crown or the historical house concerning our Africa through the slavery moment. So you have it for you now and forever. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Appreciate it.
Now, in this case, we say, in spite of everything, we have to do something to commemorate our history.